I just never did things how they should have done. And I just knew in my head there's no other option. People would tell me this and I was like, bro, this is weird. Like, why are you doing this? And then people are like, talk to Allah. I was like, bro, what? I think I just cry like once a week.
Bro, I could feel the pain.
Yeah, I cry.
Like just hearing all the details, I could literally like see little.
Little do you know, from March all the way to like June, July. I think July we hit 55K in a month. Dropped, I start tweaking, like I'm stressing. I'm literally shaking like this, going to my sister, like I don't know what to do. That was probably like
rock bottom.
Like low. And at that, I gave up. I said I'm not gonna be an entrepreneur anymore. You know, if I can do this in a halal way or whatever, then I'm very sure Allah is gonna put Muslims in front of me. And bro, like, yeah, this is happening. But I used to pray. I was like, I think it's like no matter who you are, what you do, there is always an option for you.
Yusuf and Yusuf, huh? What is up, everyone? Welcome back to the channel. Today we have a completely new video. Like, I have never done anything this crazy production before. But as you guys know, if you've been watching the channel, I'm trying to take the production and just like the value that we have on this channel up. So today, alhamdulillah, I have a very special friend and guest with me. I've been back in Dallas, Texas, alhamdulillah, for the past couple of days. Been hanging out with Yusuf, mashallah, just like getting to understand his world and getting to understand like what he does. So I've been doing content creation for the past couple of years, and as time goes on, you meet so many people behind the scenes in the back end, people who run different types of businesses who are also involved in the creator economy. And I think like there's a mesh that's happening, at least on my channel, between like the creator and the consumers and whatnot, the viewers and the audience. So we're going to be pulling back the curtain today and kind of just showing you guys what it looks like in Yusuf's world along in my world. So just for the sake of it, you want to give a brief like introduction to yourself, bro?
Well, let me look at the camera here. What do I look at?
Just look at me, bro. It don't matter.
Oh,
tell me who you are, bro.
Yeah. My name is Yusuf Lashful.
Oh, no way.
What are you doing, buddy, man? No, I basically run a consulting / marketing agency. So I basically help creators like you, for most people watching, all the gurus, all the e-commerce, the real estate people, the social media, everyone you see who sell programs, courses, any type of consulting. We pretty much work with them to help them scale. And alhamdulillah, like up until now, we've been able to scale the business to 7 figures a year. And yeah, that at the age of 20, I'm turning 21 soon. So
that's crazy.
It's not going to be impressive anymore. But
SubhanAllah, man. Nah, it's impressive, bro. But I think what's really impressive is how, because you just started doing growth operating pretty recently.
Right? I mean, recently, I don't know what recent is. I started doing what I'm doing right now. You mentioned growth operating. So to simplify it, growth operating is like the hard term. But I always simplify it to people and like, do we just help creators make money? So yeah, anyone that gets views, a lot of times people struggle to make money from it. So we just help them do that. I've been doing that for about 2 years now. Yeah, for about a year and a half.
But it's impressive for it's been like a year and a half, 2 years, and you've been able to get it to 100K a month, right?
Yeah.
So that's pretty much what we're going to be talking about in today's video. What have you been up to the past couple of days? We've just been chilling. We've just been doing
gun range, strategizing, obviously for the launch that we have coming up. And enjoying the hotel.
Eating mad food.
Yeah, honestly, a bunch of last months have been crazy, so it was good to rest up a bit.
Yeah, alhamdulillah. So I'm excited for this, bro, because like, even though we've had so many conversations, I don't think I've got the full understanding of like where you come. I know you come from Switzerland.
Yeah, it's a bit
You come from like a crazy Alps and stuff like that. So I'm excited, even for myself, just to understand like where you come from and whatnot, you know? So how's life, bro? Tell me from like, does it go all the way back?
It's funny, bro. Well, it's not really that funny, but like, I was always like the crazy kid. So I started when I was like super young. I was like maybe up until I was like 10, 11. I grew up in Switzerland. So I was born in Boston, and then we moved when I was 1 to Switzerland. My dad got a job there. Quality of life was way better. So I grew up there, obviously learned speaking French in Switzerland, but also kind of had the American culture. Wow. I grew up probably young age, just getting bullied up to like 10, 11 years old. I was like one of the only Arab kids there. It was a bit different. I was a bit chubbier.
Was it hard adjusting to like Switzerland life?
Well, I never grew up in the U.S., so
yeah.
I'm pretty much. I feel Swiss. I feel like more Swiss than I feel American.
Yeah.
But yeah, I kind of had that attitude in me, so I had like, I don't know. I was just pissed at people. And then when I was like 11 or something, we moved to the U.S. for a year. So I lived in the U.S. for a year, and that's when I like really discovered basketball.
This was so you came back to Boston when you looked?
No, SF.
Okay, so
yeah, my dad was a professor at Stanford.
Okay.
Mashallah. And so all that happened, whatever. Then I go back to Switzerland, lived there for a year. Then we moved to Qatar for a year. And so when I was young, I got to experience a bunch of different things. I got to see a lot of worlds and just be like, you can kind of do whatever you want. And so, anyways, I'm in school, horrible, detentions, absence.
Yeah.
I still found like my old school notebook where the teacher would write every week, like, Yusuf's talking too much. Yusuf's pretty much a
All
radio.
bad boy reports. And...
bad grades. Like it was my parents were honest every single time. When I was in high school.
So how old were you at that point? Going back into, because this is kind
It
of
was my whole, bro.
do you think this was like the first time you had a perception of like how the world works, or like, because I'm sure like there's a lot of influence from like your dad and whatnot, right? And the travels and stuff.
I mean, from my dad, it was just, I hadn't realized when I was that age yet. That's before. When I was 15, 16, I realized.
At that time, you're probably like 8, 9 years old.
I would say from like the age 8 to 12, 13 is when I realized like I wasn't the same as everyone else. I don't know why. People like to say that they don't feel different. I felt super different. I don't know. I was just always active. I always had things on my mind. I always had crazy ideas. I never wanted to do what everyone else was doing. I was just always a crazy one in class. And so when I was young, I'd get pissed off. I'm like, why can't, because I'd see other people who want to be crazy, but they don't do anything about it. But they'd be scared. Like, they'd be scared to just, like, leave
Like, take
class.
action and stuff.
Yeah, they'd be scared to just leave class and just go home. I didn't care, bro. Like,
So you, like, kind of rebellious growing up, huh?
yeah, but
I was the same way.
yeah, I don't know. I just didn't get it. Like, why would you just not do whatever you want?
Yeah.
So just from that point on, I just knew, like, I don't know why I just knew college, all the school stuff.
It wasn't your thing. What is it? How was it growing up in Switzerland? Is that kind of the vibe as well, where people don't really go to college and they chase?
It's the opposite. Everyone goes to school there. So
Wow.
entrepreneurship there it's normal to do it after school.
Yeah.
So Switzerland it's way better than the U.S. Super safe, no problems. Like,
Dude, so where do you think the entrepreneurial like spirit came into you?
entrepreneur spirit.
Like, yeah.
I think it was when I was in school. When I was in school, about maybe 14, 15, 16, I started reselling. And I think when I was 15 and a half, 16, I realized that like, I can't be like everyone else. I just realized I was like, I'm cooked. If I don't figure something out,
Yeah.
I'm not going to make it through school.
What were you reselling?
Shoes.
Hey.
I'd resell shoes. So back in Switzerland,
you gotta expound on that.
yeah,
bro.
like in Switzerland, I used to resell, but we didn't have drops like in the U.S. We didn't have anything like the U.S. StockX didn't work.
So access was a lot harder.
It was a lot harder. So I'd have to buy shoes off of like grandmas, uncles, like a bunch of people who maybe like mistakenly buy shoes. There's no drops. Like shoes would drop super rarely. And so I started reselling around then. And the reason why is because I used to see like all the videos online, just like people making hella bread. But in Switzerland, it wasn't normal. Like you couldn't, like even drop shipping, you couldn't drop ship in Switzerland because of regulations, because of like
So this
bunch
was
of
what,
different stuff.
2017, 2018?
I'm telling you now, 4 years ago, it's probably like 2019, 2020.
Okay.
Yeah, 2019 to 2020.
Okay.
So at that point, I'm basically like reselling, back to back to back, and bro, it's just bad. I'd be in class, I'm looking at shoes every single day. I'm lowballing. Like, if you know reselling, you spend your time like half the time just the price is $250, give me $180, and you just do that every single time. And I remember the time that it really clicked was when this was like the time where everything changed and why I came to do what I do today. Is I remember I was like cleaning shoes for some of my friends because I was selling the shoes, but as a way to like increase the value of the shoes, I would take them, clean them myself, and then I would pretty much just like sell them to make more money.
Yeah.
I remember one night it's like 11:30 p.m. and I'm cleaning a shoe, whatever. My dad comes by the room, and he looks into my room and he's like, because at that point, mind you, I'm not getting good grades.
Yeah.
The teacher was asking my parents to come to class 2-3 times a year. Absences, late to class, like I'd forget my backpack going to school, like it was just bad. And my family's super educational. I'm from Yemen, so like education is number one. No one does. You don't know any Yemeni creators. This doesn't exist.
Yeah.
You know, it's like it's super educational, but I hated school.
Very, very type A, like by the book.
Exactly, buy the book, everything. And my dad came from nothing, so our family was like pretty much nothing. It's like where he is, and it's like super impressive. So he looks at me, he's like, "Are you actually cleaning like someone else's shoes right now?" And then he's like, "Matt," he's like, "There's no way we did all this for you to be cleaning shoes." Which now I used to be pissed. Now looking at it, I'm like,
You understand
But
it,
he said one phrase that stuck with me because I used to always get mad at them. And he said one phrase, and he told me, There's much better ways of providing value to the world.
Wow.
So that phrase stuck with me. So even though I hated it so
So you
much,
need to talk about your dad.
there's that phrase of like, there's a much better way for you to provide value to the world than cleaning shoes. It still stuck with me. And that day it didn't stick with me. But after reselling, I think, I got on TikTok. No one knew, by the way. I was hiding away from it, whatever. I got on TikTok. I was pretty much like showing the shoes. I was doing edits. Like if you want to put something that's super embarrassing. And I was posting every day. But mind you, in Switzerland, it's not normal to do any of these things. Like you don't have American TikTokers. You don't have YouTubers. You don't have anything. Like no one
It's a
makes
whole other
content.
world there, huh?
Yeah, it's super embarrassing.
Because it's pretty conservative there, yeah?
Yeah, it's pretty conservative. Just people don't, they don't step out of the box.
Yeah.
And so I remember I started posting videos or whatever, but I'm hiding it. And some people in school start to find that account and send it to me. And I'm like, oh, this is not happening right now. And I remember, because I was like not famous in high school, but like semi. I was like chill with people, most people, like, because people would rock the shoes, I would sell them.
Yeah.
So I'd give deals to everyone. And so everyone had like shoes that I sold them. And I remember going to school, like, and I had never felt so many people look at me. Like, that's when I really understood, like,
Word got around.
holy crap. Yeah, word got around. People were looking left and right. Da, da, da. It was just like, I got so embarrassed. I was making content for a couple months and it stopped. I got so embarrassed.
Because of that pressure.
I stopped, yeah.
Wow.
Because I would go to school, my own friends, they make fun of me. They'd like copy the moves that I would do in the videos. And I was just like, all right, bro, like, this is just not it. And I remember after that, I got like, I don't know, I wasn't like super depressed. I was like, all right, I thought this made sense, but it's not possible. So reselling ended or whatever, and then crypto NFTs came about. To kind of summarize it, whatever, I got into crypto NFTs. I put all my money from the reselling, and I went down to zero. I had a product that I was going to put out. I got hacked. I think alhamdulillah I got hacked because the value prop in NFTs did not make sense.
Yeah.
So I got hacked from there. That was like my bottom. Because I remember when that happened, mind you, like imagine you're trying to make something work and you go to your dad for money, you got my sister, I got everyone to give money to invest, and I lost it all.
Oh, wow.
So at that point, I was like, I'm cooked. I remember that day I just cried the whole night, bro, because I pretty much go, and the guy was supposed to like send me like proxies, some weird stuff, and I pay him. And I get him and I put him into the thing and it doesn't work.
Sounds like rock bottom moment for you.
It just doesn't work. And I start tweaking. My heart just drops. I start tweaking, like I'm stressing. I'm literally shaking like this. Going to my sister, like, I don't know what to do. She's like, oh, it's probably a bug. It's fine. It's fine. But in my head, I know, like, it's completely not fine. And I'm just like tweaking. I'm shaking, whatever. And I just cry. That was probably like the hardest 1 to 2 weeks. So every day I would just like go to bed. Because for me, it was like I knew school wouldn't work. And I had a big self-belief like issue when I was young. I didn't believe myself, but I would lie to myself to then believe myself.
Yeah.
That's how it would work every single time. And I would go through this. At that point,
So you would just like inner talk, like you would just talk to yourself and like self-parent yourself out of it.
Yeah. I mean, I just tried to convince myself. Like I just lie to myself, like, hey, this is small. Something bigger is gonna happen. Something's bigger. It's like you have to lie to yourself.
Yeah.
Because every time it fails, like, what do you do?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And everyone always compares it to basketball. Like you shoot your shot, shoot again. Yeah. When it's a business and you're putting all this time into it,
and there's so much emotion involved as well.
It's complicated. So that was probably like
rock bottom,
like low. And at that, I gave up. I said I'm not gonna be an entrepreneur anymore. And I remember I wasn't going to college, but with my grades in Switzerland, I was still able to go to the #1 business school in the country. And so I was like, you know what?
So with your grades,
yeah,
you were able to get into the #1 business school in the country.
It's like a Swiss system is a bit different.
Okay.
I could talk about it for long hours, but they separate you early on. My parents would always pressure me on school, so like they tried like 30 tutors before one even worked, just because like I would forget my stuff. I wouldn't be there on time. They'd give me homework, I wouldn't do it. It was a mess. But pretty much that happens, and I'm like, you know what? I'm not gonna be an entrepreneur. I'm gonna get into finance, consulting. I'm gonna be an investment banker. Like it's done. Like the Arab dad dream. And so I signed up to the school and I'm going. We look for apartments, boom, I get a studio. I'll show you the studio, how it looked like. Yeah. Small little studio, kitchen, whatever, but alhamdulillah, it was good. So I go, and 2 months before, I'm on YouTube. I make money online, how to make quick money, all that stuff.
So it's still, even though you wanted to go back to school, it still started coming back.
Yeah, I couldn't stop, bro. Like when you see all these people, like when you're always on IG Reels, like back then, TikTok, and you see all these people making money, it's hard to stop. Yeah. Like once you believe in something,
especially around that time of the world, it's like that's when entrepreneurs really started to come to the surface. Yeah.
Think about it. We're dreamers. Yeah. Especially like I think guys dream a lot more. You're consistently dreaming. So for me, it was my dream. Like I loved supercars, I loved all these like things. I was like, I want this life. So it's hard for me to give up on it. And then Iman Ghazi, he had a webinar done, SMMA, blah, 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 blah. And I remember he goes into the video, you can have an agency, you don't have to deliver by yourself, you don't have to do this, you don't have to do that. So I said, why not? And I went on Google and I found a hacked version. So I was like, bro, I don't have the money to pay for it. I go on Reddit, I start looking for it. I get a free version of it. So I get his whole course for free. I start watching it. I start a first agency for influencer marketing. That fails. I tried Facebook ads. That didn't work. I tried, I think Facebook ads for realtors also. That didn't work. And I remember one day I was on TikTok. I'm scrolling. And this guy has a podcast. And he goes, hey, this kid hit me up to clip up my videos and post them online. And I was like, damn, that's genius. And that's before the whole short form content thing. So I was like, you know what, whatever. I go on Fiverr. I find like a couple of different like Indians that can help me like edit these videos or whatever. And I start spamming people. And instead of doing everyone else do, I go to YouTubers and I offer YouTubers to clip up the videos to help them blow up. And I start emailing like hella people every single day.
Like cold emailing?
Yeah, cold emailing and then also DMing them. So I would cold email and DM. And my first week in college is I start talking to people, whatever. And this one guy responds to me. He's like, hey man, I might do it, but I don't know. And I was like, bro, I wanted it so bad. Because mind you, so at this point I'm in college. I just got there first week. I'm in the studio. And I'm like, bro, hell no. And so I was like, I'm not staying here. I remember he just answered with it. He wouldn't want to work with me. So I just spammed him, bro. I was sending him voice memos every day. I promise this is the best thing about your life. This is the best thing you'll ever do. Short form content's blowing up. You have to do this. If you don't do it now, it's not ever going to work out. Every day, bro. I was like, I need this. And then I spammed him so much. He said yes. So we hop on a call. We talk it out, whatever. Mind you, my price was $2K. I'm like, $2K. He says 800. I'm like, bet. I just do it.
No negotiations.
He's like, I don't have. Then he's like, can I pay? I'm like, I don't know how to. I don't have Stripe. I don't have nothing. I'm like, you have UBS, which is a Swiss bank stuff. And he's like, no, PayPal. I'm like, I have PayPal. So I call my sister. I'm like, can you please send me your PayPal? My sister sent me her PayPal. I send it to him.
Hustling.
He sends the money, and I lose like $100 in fees.
Yeah.
And my editor was like $350. So I'm like $300 in profit. And that day is like, that's when I knew. That day is like the day that changed my life. I remember I went to the street. I got like those scooters, the ride scooters. I began to zoom into the whole city and music on. I felt, bro, I don't think.
Because that was like the first sale.
Yeah.
That was like the first sale.
I don't think I ever felt that rich. Bro.
Dude, expand, because like, I think in your brain, it's very like choppy, this, and this, right? What was going through your mind in that friction part? You know what I mean, bro? Because it's like, you easily could have quit. Like the guy wasn't responding to your calls. Like you're learning about the short form content thing. All these ideas are blowing up. And what was like the thing behind you that was driving you forward? You know what I mean? Because like you kept knocking at a door and it wasn't opening. You kept knocking,
yeah,
right? Before that, it was shoes, and then it was like the short form content. Then you finally got a client, but he didn't want to pay.
That's actually a really good like analogy.
You know
Knock on the door, but no one answers. It's like, I think I was just so desperate.
Yeah.
That's the big thing. I remember the first week I went into class, and I sat there for an hour, and by the end of the class, I was so lost. And I asked my friend, like, yo, is this supposed to be hard? He's like, no, this is the beginner class. So I remember we used to have like microeconomics, law, business management, and everything. And then the same week, I was talking to one of my teachers about like marketing. And he's like, yeah, the future of marketing is ads. I'm like, huh? What do you mean it's ads? Ads has been the thing for like he's talking about like Instagram ads and everything. He's showing us. And I'm like, this has been here. So week one, I was like, yo, this doesn't make sense at all. Like this doesn't make sense. And this thing happened in my head where like, I just knew I had no other option. Bro, I was never going to be good at school. Like I was never good at college. I would have never been good at like doing all these big reports that they would have wanted. Like all these things, I would have never had done them properly. I just couldn't. Even my stuff in school, like I would use AI, ChatGPT, or like there's this girl that I know who just helped me with everything I need to. Like I just never did it myself.
Just finessed it.
I just finessed it 24/7.
Yeah.
In high school, I had like a whole system where I just didn't have to do any of the work.
Yeah.
Just get people to give me the work and give them to someone else, and I had different people that helped me. I'd miss a test to go back to the other test where it was like a grandmaster Venga, so I just use my phone and go through the whole thing. Like I just never did things how they should have done, and I just knew in my head there's no other option. So I'm reaching out to these people, and I tell this to people all the time. I had no other option. I was a smart. I wasn't like a D1 athlete or whatever. This was it. So that's why like I just kept knocking on the door, and it's like, is shit better open one day? Funny enough, when it happened, it never stopped. I got one client the first month. Second month, I was at 2.4K a month. The month after, I was at like 4.2K. By December, I was at like 7K a month. And by January, I was at 11K a month. So it was going up slowly. And this is where it gets interesting. January, I hit 11K a month. And so we had tests for school, right? But I sucked at everything. And I tried to study, but after 45 minutes, I'm like, yo, this is impossible. Like, I'm never going to get any of this right. Yeah. And these exams come. And before the exams, we were onboarding a client. We're doing a bunch of stuff. And so I'm like stuck. And I'm running the short form content agency still. And I'm working with people. So what I did for people to understand is I took people's channels and I made short form content of it. Or I would help them script the videos and make like videos like this where they would clip it up and then post it on their social media to basically make more money for their business. And in January, I have had a client of mine that I was working with. And this guy, he launches an info product, which a course for some people might not know. And he just sends out an email and he mentioned his YouTube video and he makes like 50K.
So this is a transition that we're talking about.
Yeah. But mind you, I was doing content.
Yeah.
It's 50K. And I'm like, something's not right here, bro. Like, this is not good. Like,
I thought I had it figured out, but I don't.
I thought I was cooling, but like 50,000. And so I remember I was thinking about it, whatever, And at the same time, my old business partner, we're on a call, he needed content. He's like, yeah, I might work with influencers. And I might work with creators, and he wanted to help them do some Web3 stuff. So then we were like...
What's Web3?
Web3 is like crypto, NFTs, and everything.
Okay.
And so then we were like, why not just help them scale by doing like what others are already doing? And so like, all right, cool. So I go on Discord. This is right before my exams. I go on Discord, and we started reaching out to a bunch of people. Because mind you, same time, I'm like, all right, everyone's on Instagram DMs. Why don't we go on Discord? And we started reaching out to a bunch of different groups. And we're like, hey, we can help these guys that are doing like 5, 10K like a month and with like $49 of subscriptions. We can help them make way more with something called a high ticket offer. Yeah. So we can help them sell them programs for like $1,000 to $5,000 instead of just a couple hundreds, and upsell to like mentorships. So bro, we do it, we sign them for free, right? We sign them for free.
Like no upfront cost.
No upfront cost, 20% revenue share. Revenue share for like 20% of what they're making. And then while this is happening, and it sounds confusing to you because I was like mixing everything up. I have my content.
Because this is where you were figuring things out.
Exactly. So I'm like figuring stuff. I'm like, all right, this content stuff is good, but my margins are low and everything. So well, you know what? Let's try it with these guys, and we just do it. So we sign these guys, and I saw my other clients. Exams are in a week, and I haven't studied that much. So I'm like, you know what? It's done. So I start focusing on these guys, and I ignore the exams or whatever. And stuff just happens. We work with them, whatever. And I decided at that point, I'm dropping out. Even if the exams go well, not well, I'm getting out of this.
Because you're starting to like...
I'm starting to realize, like, there's something here. There's way more. If I can make 10K, I can make $1 million here.
Yeah.
That's what my head is thinking. If I can make $10,000 a year, I can make $1 million. So exams come. I fail every single one besides microeconomics. And that's just because I was behind the smartest kid in the class. I was just doing whatever. Like, that's legit the only reason. That's like legit the only reason why I had a good grade, bro. Yes.
Kudos to that kid. It was in front of you, bro.
It's cooking. So that happens. And funny enough, like, this brings back to what we were talking about. At that exact point, that's when like Dean came to the most importance in college. Because I was like all over the place. Like,
chaos everywhere.
Girls, it's everything. I was even more in shape, so I'm making some money. It's like if people know what you're doing. And at that point, I was like, bro, like, I feel like this is destiny. Like, I trust Allah to like guide me after this. And I was like, yeah, it's done. Wow. And so exams come, but I have a month before results. My parents think like, hey, he might still pass. Like, he's always figured it out. In my head, I'm like, yo, if I pass, like, you know what I'm saying? Like, someone went and just changed the results, you know?
There's like no way you could have passed.
Exactly. So I leave school, and I leave school right before we launch the client. So the launch is happening in 2 weeks, and I leave school, and then I think a week after, I'm like sitting at home. I'm sitting at my studio, and I wake up, and I get a client saying like, hey, we have to let you go for the short form stuff. And then I wake up the next day, and another client's like, hey, we have to let you go. I wake up the day after, and the clients that we have to do. So at this point, I'm like, all right, this is something wrong. Like, I'm tweaking. Like, I'm stressing. I'm like, bro, there's no way I just built a business that's doing well. It is crumbling
Yeah.
like in no time. Like this just started working.
Wow.
And the fourth day, other client leaves. So I go from like making 11K a month to 1K a month.
Wow.
And at that point, I was like, bro, and I'm moving back home. So
What was going on? Was this like something?
I'm moving back home because like I didn't pass.
Yeah.
So while I'm moving back home, I lost all my clients. I thought I was going to go back home with a business that's doing well.
Yeah.
Then I could argue my parents and be like, hey, like I'm making 6 figures a year. Like let me live.
Yeah.
I'm not. Like, I'm not even making minimum wage. So bro, it's pure embarrassment. Like I honestly, even though that was embarrassing, I had never felt more embarrassed. Because when I went to school,
Wow, man.
everyone knew I was at that school. It's like, wow, he's in this school. It's gonna be good. Blah, blah, blah. Like everyone was like super ecstatic about it. And then obviously my dad's reputation is like super important. So it's like everyone knows like his son was going. So I came back. It was kind of like, what are you doing? You know. And we started working with those clients. I'm like, you know what? I'm head down in this. And so I have this increment from like March to like June, July, where I go from like 0 to, I'll take that over after, but I go 0 to like doing super well. But I have the clients about to launch, and I go back home and my parents are like, hey, like, what are you going to do now? Like, start applying for internships. And I'm like, no, I'm not going to apply for internships. Like, yeah, I have to apply for internships. So I start applying for school. And so I go through these couple months where I'm getting sent to business schools. I'm getting sent different stuff to do. I'm getting told by everyone that like, hey, like, this is why you need, imagine like you fail and people are like, this is why you need business school. Yeah. This is why you need to go back to school. This is why you need to study. This is why you need to this. And I remember one of my dad's friends, he's like, hey, like come out to the park, whatever, we'll talk about business. And I go all the way there. I'm super excited because some of them did do really well. And they sit me down. It's like, hey, we have to talk about where it all started. And it's like when I was in business school. And I'm like, you guys just brought me all the way here to tell me to go back to school. And I was like, to me, that was like so disrespectful.
And it was like a big slap in the face.
That I'm like, bro, this is done. Like, I'm not doing this anymore. Like, this is not gonna, like, in my head, like, I think I had never been so mad.
Yeah.
I'd never been
checked out.
I was like, bro, like, this is not gonna go this way. And so I just put myself in my room and I was like, bro, I'm lasering this. And so we launched our first client. They pay us like $8K the first month. The month after, I meet someone else. He gave us another client. One client was paying us like $13K a month. The month after we signed a month after we signed an even bigger guy, he starts to pay us up to like 20, 25K a month. And little do you know, from March all the way to like June, July, I think July we hit 55K in a month. So 55K in 30 days. And that's like, that's what changed it. And so that was all from working with creators. So when I teach people what I do, because for me it changed my life, bro. There's no other business model or system where you can take someone that already has all this traffic and launch them, you know? But that was probably like one of the toughest times, because when you keep on failing, you get to a point where people just look at you and like, this is the example. Yeah. So I just had people nonstop, bro. Like, it's not gonna work. You know, not gonna work. School doesn't work.
Dude, how did you deal with all that? Like people just not believing in you, like from all corners. You know what I mean? Like this self-doubt never get to you.
A lot of people would try to say that they deal with it well. I didn't deal with it because I didn't believe in myself. Yeah. I just couldn't tell anyone.
So you must have been really scared on the inside.
I could never tell people like, yo, I don't think it's gonna work out, because then they're like, yeah, you're right, it's not gonna work out. Like, go back to school, it's better for you. Like when I was in college or even whatever, bro, like it was, I don't know, I never spoken about this, but like, bro, I think I just cry like once a week.
But I could feel the pain.
Yeah, I'd cry.
Like just hearing all the details, I could literally like see little.
I mean, I laugh about it now because it's like,
I know it's funny now because
it makes it worth it, you know. Yeah, but like back then, it's just because for me it was like,
how did that work out?
Yeah, it didn't, like, bro. But for me, it was like, I didn't want to disappoint myself. I didn't want to disappoint my parents. Because for me, like, my dad had fought so hard to where he got to, and I was like, no, I can't. Like, and I feel that was the biggest thing in my head. I was consistently, like, in my head, I was like, I can't. Like, I just can't. I can't be, like, sitting next to him, and people are like, yeah, he messed it up. Yeah. That was my thing. It's like, people always, one of my uncles used to tell me one day, he's like, you know, like, he's your dad. Like, you can't mess it up. You know, because people knew him for what they knew him for, and I was like, bro, this is, I can't.
And dad's a pretty well-known like person in Switzerland.
In Switzerland, I mean, it's more of like in our culture.
In our culture, yeah.
He's a neuroscientist. I think if people was to find my last name, they could find him.
Yeah.
But he was pretty well known in his space, mostly in Yemen, our culture. A lot of people knew
In
him.
the network and stuff.
A lot of people knew him, had a really good reputation. So it's like,
A lot of pressure on your shoulders.
yeah. I mean, they always told me I had no pressure, but I just always knew like, hey, like people would always talk about him, but not in a bad way. Like for me, it was a good thing, and I had that click. I think the most important thing to talk about here before we go into the next stuff is I felt that responsibility from him. So when I would go to the U.S., I remember when I was 15 is the time that it clicked. That's when everything changed. I used to have like a bit of hatred towards my parents. Like, they don't really care about me. They don't understand me. And then I remember I went to the U.S. and I was meeting a bunch of different Yemenis. And every time I met someone, like, hey, thank your dad. Hey, thank your dad for this. Like, thank you that he helped out this person. Or he helped out X family. And then it's like, oh, like, like my son's going to college because he saw your dad's LinkedIn or whatever. And it's consistently for like 2 weeks. And I remember when I was going home, I was like, this is why. You know, like I had this realization of I wanted to do it for a lot of different reasons. But then it made me realize you can have an impact way further than money if you strive to be better. And what clicked in my head at that point is that when people see you, they see 3 options. They either see you and they're like, this guy's, I don't want to be like him. They see you as like, oh, we're equals. Like, I want to be, maybe I want to be like him. I don't know. It doesn't matter. Or it's like, wow, like this person makes me strive to do more.
Mm-hmm.
And so it was like, do you want to be the person that people see and, you know, they want to do more when they see you, they strive to do more, they have bigger goals, they can ask you for advice? Or do you want to be like of no resource? Do you want to be of like no value? And at the end of the day, you can't do that, so you strive for more. And that's one that's carried through me. Like when you talk about what helped me carry through all this, is like, I just couldn't. For me in my head, it was like, if I didn't do anything big, I would have never been proud of myself.
Yeah.
So that's the simple, like,
that's like a
more dramatic answer.
Yeah, no. So it's basically just like, in a nutshell, it's like the drive to want to be valuable and useful to the world is what kept you going.
Yeah, I mean, I think a lot of people are entrepreneurs don't talk about it, but it all comes from insecurity. You know, anyone even who makes content, whatever. I tell people all the time, we're very insecure humans at the end of the day.
I agree. That's what happened for me for my content creation. I haven't given my full story either to the camera or anything, but it's like growing up in a boarding school, growing up like half Pakistani, half Filipino, I always felt so out of place. Never felt like I had friends, even though I had friends, but I just never felt like I fit in, you know? Mm-hmm. Couldn't speak Urdu, couldn't speak Tagalog like my mom's family, like my mom's thing. Mm-hmm. And then growing up, my dad, we always moved around because my dad's a taxi driver, so we never had like we were upper middle class, like more middle class to upper, you know? So it's like, we moved around a lot growing up. Yeah. And I never had like friends that I can resonate with and to stay with along, you know?
So you gotta be your own friend.
Exactly. And then I think that perfectly just segued into me just wanting to garner attention from myself online and just build a massive community for me to fill that void and that insecurity, you know what I mean? Yeah. Alhamdulillah, it worked out in like our own journeys and everything, bro. Wow, that's crazy, bro.
I mean, I think what I realized at some point is that a lot of people, they have a lot of issues, but they decide to not be in touch with them. Mm-hmm. You know, people want to shy away from it. For me, it's like, I mean, a lot of people are insecure, but they just don't say they are for some reason, or they don't want to find a reason.
People run away from their problems.
Yeah, I was like, if I feel a certain way, I might as well energize it in different. I could have went to party. I had a lot of opportunities. I didn't grow up around Muslims. I had opportunities to go party, like, girl. You can talk about all the different stuff, but it's like, what's worth it? What makes sense? So I was like, if you have all this energy, anger, stress, whatever, just channel it in a way. And for me, that was it.
So you mentioned before, like a little bit about where you got close to the deen. Mm-hmm. This was like back before you dropped out of college, right?
Yeah, I mean, I don't think my deen is perfect yet right now. But I think when I was in college, it was always like, that's when it was like the lowest for me, at least. And so I don't know, bro. I used to be on my deen, not really. I didn't have many Muslims around me. And at that point, I was like, all right, if there's one person that can probably like help me out or give me an answer from this, is like Allah. So I just sit in bed and people would tell me this, and I was like, bro, this is weird. Like, why are you doing this? And then people are like, talk to Allah. I was like, bro, what? And I just started doing that, bro. I was talking to Allah, and I was like, what should I do here? I was just talking.
Because it's like when you're at such a rock bottom place, and especially for your story, when there's like repetitive times where it's just like you're shot down.
You don't have anyone else to talk to. The thing is, I think the toughest things for most people that I have the mentorship and guys that I talk to, it's like, no one wants to give you the answer you want to get. Like, no one's going to give you the hard answer. Yeah. No one's going to say, believe in yourself. Take the risk. No one ever. And that's the hardest part. You know, it's like, you don't have anyone to talk to. And so you just spend the time by yourself, like, what am I supposed to do?
Yeah.
And so I think when I like, you know, when you start talking to Allah, you do all these things, it changes the perspective.
Yeah.
Because you kind of feel like you have someone who gives you like what you should actually do. And I just did that, bro. And I think it kind of instilled this thing in me where it's like, if it's meant to be, it's meant to be.
It gave you peace.
Exactly. If it's meant to be, it's meant to be. If not, then, but it just could never not happen. So it kept on having this thing where it just could not happen. And I don't know, I was praying more. It was more my deen. I had my cousin who helped me out a lot during that time because he was super on his deen. Even till today, he's on my ass sometimes. But that was the biggest thing for me. It's like, I think at that point I realized my purpose was just more than just money. It's also like, I realized there's a lot of Muslims out there who couldn't do what I was able to do or don't have the opportunity.
Yeah.
And at that point, it was like, you know, if I can do this in a halal way or whatever, then I'm very sure Allah is going to put Muslims in front of me. And bro, like yeah, this is happening. But I used to pray. I was like, give me like Muslim friends, give me people that are on their deen, like help me build a business in a good way where I don't have to be around bad people. I don't have to go to like clubs. I don't have to go to like parties where there's alcohol, girls. I don't have to do any of these things.
Yeah.
And like, it's weird because now exactly that happened.
Yeah, it's happening. I always hear that parallel in everyone's story. Whenever I talk to people who've had like a recent transition or like transformation religiously, even myself for like this entire year, like, you know, I've been running in circles, trying different business models behind the scenes and like everything. And then I think at the end of the day, you're exactly right. Like you go back to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and my dua was, Ya Allah, grant me beneficial knowledge, because what I got out of learning the business model, going down the rabbit holes of like the different gurus online, I'm sure you know them, right? It's knowledge, but it's not beneficial knowledge to me, right? So it's asked Allah for beneficial knowledge and then beneficial friends as well. Yeah. Because I was meeting a lot of people, like got into that mentorship that you know of. Yeah. That just was not beneficial at all. So it's like, give me beneficial people and beneficial knowledge. Yeah. And after that, bro, it's like I met you, I met the people on your team, I met other people who are like in the Muslim space. Yeah. And it's really cool to see like the people in SF, like Deco and everywhere and whatnot. And it's just, I was telling Ali this too. Like, it's really cool to kind of see just the Muslim brothers in the background who are operating at such a high level, but no one knows them yet, you know? Which is why it's good to have like opportunities like this where we can come to the light and like share our stories and stuff like that. And yeah, bro, it's been Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is just there, like holding everyone back down.
I think that's the biggest thing people need to understand is that, like, I mean, you can never be perfect, but he's always there. And if you always have something to go back to. Yeah. And I think having that in my head, like, it changed a lot. Because that's the time where I felt like the loneliest. And so I was like, you know what? If everything was to not work out, I have Allah. Yeah. Wallah, like, why am I tripping? Like, honestly, because before that, I thought other people around me would like actually cover. But at that point, everyone just like was like, no. And yeah, like when I was in school, I was like in bed, and I had a moment where I was like, you know what? When I lost all my clients, that's when it happened. I was like, you know what? Even if all this goes away, I still have Allah. Yeah. Like I go to bed, I have someone to talk to. That's like, you know, it's a bit deep, but it's true.
It's true, bro. Because that's what belief is, right? Belief is when like all doors are closed, but you still believe. Yeah. There's that hope. There's that, you know, there's that one that's going to take care of you.
Exactly.
Yeah. SubhanAllah, bro. All right. Let's talk about the business, man. Let's talk about the business. What are you doing now, bro? Tell me about now. What are you up to now?
I'll simplify as much as possible.
Yeah.
I help creators like you, and then maybe a couple gurus that they might know, basically make money online. So if someone, for example, is teaching real estate, and they're doing themselves like good in real estate, they might make, you know, a couple 6 figures in real estate, and their knowledge can be good to the online. They start making content, and I help them release courses, programs, certifications. It can be for anything. I've had clients that are marriage coaches. So you had a client who's like a marriage coach, and he finds people that are close to divorce, and he just helps them like rekindle their relationships. But we've had people that will go like for that years without like any intercourse, and I'll keep it like that. And then he was working with them, and that goes off. We had a client who, an army client, went to the army, so he came back and he was helping old vets like
trauma and
find themselves and come back to life. I've had e-commerce clients that built big e-commerce businesses, will teach others how to do it. So that's, in a nutshell, it's really that simple. People have seen the funnels, the emails, the websites. Yeah. If you get called randomly, then that's us. And in exchange, I get paid like a retainer. So like a monthly pay every single month, and then a revenue share. So if someone's going to make like $100,000 that month and I'm helping them out, they might pay us out like $20,000 plus 3 to 4,000, and so that's how we're able to make.
Yeah, dude. What do you think is like? What do you think is so important to take the business from like the average couple thousand a month to the level that you take it at right now?
I think you have to realize it's not about yourself. It's you have to build a really solid team around you, and you have to do things a lot of times before you relate to other people. So if you do things, if you work consistently, you just have to keep on doing the same work, track the work you're doing, systemize it, and then hand it off to other people.
Yeah.
Bro, put this in the video, bro. It's actually gonna be funny. What was I saying? Yeah, I think,
Look at that.
I'll say that, but, simply put, I would say it comes down to having.
Wait. All right, guys, listen.
It comes out like scaling at a high number. One, you need an in-demand product. So it could be anything, bro. Like people don't understand. Like, let's say you make videos for restaurants, and you want to get to 100K a month. You need like 20 restaurants that are going to pay you like 5K a month, right? And they can pay for like 3K a month flat, and then 2K from like a percentage of the revenue. Biggest thing you want to know, it's not about what you think people want. It's about what people say they want or say they.
It's about what they need.
Yeah.
It's not what you think they need. It's what they actually need.
Exactly. So the biggest thing for me is like, you have to sell what's in demand, right? So for me, it's like a lot of people don't know how to market online or sell products online. That's where I went. I have friends like who make money in so many different ways. Like some people make a product. I don't know. Some guys made like this neurogum.
Yeah.
It's like people eat all the time because it was in demand at that point and no one else did it. And it actually helped you focus. So what I would say is services is number one for me. If you have a service that's like super in demand, for example, like content creation or like helping, I don't know, realtors get more deals to the door, and you keep on scaling it, you can get to a certain amount. But the way you actually scale is people. Number one, it's like traffic and people. Traffic is like how many people are you getting to see your product or to actually get interested. From there, you get leads, and then having a team. You know, because the biggest thing for people is that a lot of people start a service and they keep on doing the same thing every single day. But if you do the same thing every single day, you're pretty much a freelancer.
Yeah.
So the thing is, like, you kind of like freelance for a bit, then you become an agency, and then you either become a really big agency or like become like a consulting agency.
Yeah.
And so the biggest thing for me has always been team, right? I start selling something, I see that it does well, I do more outreach, I send out more DMs, I make more content, I send out more emails, and then more people buy, and then more people buy. But now, okay, I can't take sales calls anymore, I need a closer. Okay, now I can't edit the videos anymore, I need an editor. Okay, now I can't talk to the clients every day because I'm like doing other stuff. I'll get a client success manager. And so every time that you do something, you'll have a problem, and then you have to find a solution to the problem to keep on scaling.
Yeah.
The issue is a lot of people, they make 10K a month. They're doing everything themselves, and then they're like, oh, I'm making money, and they stop doing acquisition. So they stop getting new clients, and they lose a client next month, and it falls down. And so you have to be super patient for 1 to 2 years to just focus on your business only and consistently grow all the aspects. That's like the most important thing. I think people don't give it a big of a runway before they actually see it grow. You have this graph that goes like this, right? Yeah. And so people go like this and they stop here without realizing it, right? But it takes a lot of effort then do the rest. And so that's what I think it is. It's just time. Time, patience, and you just keep on doing this.
It's a reps game.
Yeah.
It's like the same thing in the gym.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Bro, it literally is the same thing as the gym.
Literally the same thing in the
Honestly.
gym. That's very true. It's the same thing for content as well, man.
Yeah. The most interesting thing is you're consistently fighting yourself in your old habits.
Yeah.
So what happens is a lot of people, they've never been business owners. And so when you're trying to make your first 5, 10K a month, you're trying to change the way you perceive life and the way you do things and everything. And so a lot of people, they don't allow themselves to become someone else. That's why a lot of times people that do well, they like change neighborhoods or they change
That is very true.
cities, they move around because you actually have to.
Like you literally have to become a different person.
Exactly.
I completely agree, man.
Exactly.
Because I remember like when I was starting off doing content, the use of then versus like, and I don't show this stuff like online where it's the people that I meet. Like I know a lot of people in the business scene, scene, but it's because of having that knowledge, I'm able to apply it now into content and like.
But how hard was it to do that? How many reps?
It's 2 years, bro.
Yeah, exactly.
2 years of like feeling like I'm running in circles, and only now am I kind of understanding. Like, it clicked. You know what I mean? So it's yeah, it's crazy.
It takes time. I think it takes time, and people don't like to hear that it takes time. But the good thing is the other side of it is insanely beautiful.
Yeah.
Like I tell people all the time, like people are like, how hard was it? And I'm like, super hard. But I would never want to be in anyone else's situation.
Yeah.
Like, bro, there's stuff that I used to like dream about myself that I never thought that I'd be here. I generally never believe so.
Yeah.
So I think a lot of times people ask me, is it worth it? But it's super worth it.
But what was like your favorite experience after you finally had the money coming in and like money was no longer an issue? What was like the highlight of like the high life?
The highlight, I think, is consistently a highlight. To me, my life is a highlight. Well, like, it sounds weird, but like I can do whatever I want. Like I remember when I was young and I used to think, oh, bro, could I just fly anywhere business class? Could I like actually like buy a Rolex? And I was like, bro, how long would I have to save? I need to be 30, 35. Like, bro, no one can be like, I'm never going to fly business class in my 20s. Well, I used to be so sure. And I've done it like 10, 15 times in the last year and a half by itself. And it's like, bro, when you're sitting there and you go into the lounge, like you're the youngest there, and then you go to the flight and they're like, what the hell do you even do? Or like,
people thought they were you a DJ.
Like, yeah, like at the hotel right now, like they thought I was a DJ.
They thought you were a DJ.
You know, because I was going up to
you're just in a hoodie.
Top floor. I was on the top floor of the hotel as like the DJ. It's like, I don't know, like small things like that. It's not even about recognition. It's just like
it's just the access that you have.
You can choose, bro. It's just having the choice. That's the biggest.
Life becomes a game.
Having a choice. Like obviously, if I want to buy like a Patek now, I probably won't, right? Because it's gonna be a lot of money, or like I'm not gonna buy a Ferrari at this point. But like you have the choice. Yeah. Like I told you this before, I can wake up and I have the choice of doing certain things that I used to never be able to think about. Like I'm in Dallas right now. I was in New York. Before that, I was like a couple weeks ago, I was in Paris. At the time with my friends, the past winter, like something so small, is skiing was expensive. So I used to never go ski. And then after that, I could just go ski. And I would go ski like during the week. So this is the smallest thing ever, is your people's week is my weekend. Yeah. So Monday to Tuesday, Wednesday is when I like maybe do the things that I want to do during the day. It's empty. The mall's empty. The skiing slopes are empty. No one's mad at you. At the airport, everyone's like not bothering you. Like, you know, it's like little things. And the weekend is super crowded. There's a bunch of people, and I get to choose. Yeah. And that to me is like priceless. Super, like it's just priceless. Like another example is like my family's all over the place. Like my sister's in Dallas. My sister's with my parents are in Qatar. I can travel from place to place. Yeah. I can control my time. Yeah. But if I wasn't, I'd be stuck in the city, and it's just a freedom.
It's a freedom to do whatever you want whenever you want.
And so. That's the highlight of my life. It's not a specific moment. It's not like the watch itself. It's I have a choice.
It's a freedom.
And that's what I always wanted, honestly. So
alhamdulillah, bro, it's a freedom. I want to ask like what the biggest advice you'd have for like the audience and whatnot, but we spoke so much about like
I think there's some good stuff to get out of it. I think the very simple thing is that no matter who you are, what you believe in, and your skill sets, whether you have ADHD like me or like ADD, you're a super introvert, whatever, there's an option for you. Yeah. Right? There's people that...
I learned this, like, hanging out with you.
You know, there's people that build tech companies. People meet me, and they're like, this makes no sense. Yeah. But you met me, and you're like, what? Like, people meet me, and they, like... I remember I was in London. Some of the guys that I work with came in. I was playing FIFA at 2 p.m. And people, they just don't get it. Like, they're like, but how does this guy make 6 figures a month? Like, it doesn't make sense. Yeah. But it's because I'm super, like, business, 1,000%. And if it's not business, I'm like, shut off. Like, I'm like...
I don't know, I've seen it.
I'm like a whole new person. You think that I've never done business in my life. Yeah. And I think it's like no matter who you are, what you do, there is always an option for you, right? People are in tech. Some people, they build software companies. Some people build, people build like plumbing companies and become millionaires.
And that's the beauty of being in the info space, is you see the opportunity that people don't really see in themselves.
If I had to say one thing, it's people say it a lot, but believe in yourself. And the thing that I would say is that you don't believe in yourself to believe in yourself. You believe that if you keep on doing something a certain amount of time, it'll get you a result. Yeah. I don't know how to say it, but if you were to just, I don't know, take a fire stick and stick it at the wall, it's going to burn at some point, right? Maybe not in the first millisecond. Maybe the first 2-3 seconds, nothing's going to happen. But that 2-3 seconds in our life feels like it's years sometimes, right? But when it happens, friction burns, right? And it's like, I don't know, Luke Belmar has an example with a bamboo stick. But It's like a fire, bro. Like in the beginning, it's super small, and then it just starts getting huge.
Yeah.
And business is the same way. Whatever business, fitness, whatever that is, it's always going to be super hard in the beginning.
Yeah.
But you just have to lie to yourself, because if you're really putting in the reps, if you're really trying your best, it can't not happen. That's the thing. It's math, bro. It's math. It's physics. Whatever you want to call it. It's Dean. If you keep on doing something enough times, it's impossible, bro. Like if you do 100 squats a day for a month, your legs are not going to look the same. It's just not. It's not humanly possible.
Yeah.
And so if you can believe for all that time, just stick through it. When it works, it's gonna work.
Yeah.
And it's gonna work like crazy. And I think you have to know exactly what you want. You can't go into business being like, oh, maybe I drop out of school, maybe I won't. If you want to be in school, be in school. But you can't be like 50-50 with your business.
Yeah.
I tell people, like, I surrender to the business game. Generally speaking, I say, you know what? F the old Yusuf, that's it. This is it. And I basically like surrender myself.
Yeah.
I'm going to learn about sales, copy, and learn about everything I have to make it work.
Give it a try.
And I'm going to do all the reps.
Tunnel vision.
Class, not in class, sleep less, whatever. I didn't care. So I think for a lot of people, is you have to understand that all these people that you see do well, they don't just do well like this. There's a sacrifice.
They're zoned in.
And if you make the sacrifice, it's impossible for it not to work.
All right.
That's it. So.
In 3 words, describe your mindset.
Resilience, gratitude, and honesty. That's what I would say.
In 3 words, describe your lifestyle. I like how both of us are laughing.
Funky, dream, discipline.
I like that. All right.
That's it, bro.
Well, I guess that's it for today, man. We have a wrap. Yusuf Live Show.
Yeah. It's good to do, bro.
It's been a pleasure, bro.
It's been interesting, man.
Thank you for
It went
coming on.
fast.
Thank you for coming on to the show. I don't think I'm ever gonna do a podcast again unless it's like extreme exception. Unless we do another one like in the future with us, you know what I mean?
That, bro. Appreciate you.
Alhamdulillah, bro.
Thank
you for coming through.
Yeah.
For taking me out and doing everything on this trip has been like truly, truly a pleasure. I wish everyone in the audience can experience what I've experienced in the past like couple of days living side by side with Yusuf and just like seeing the super like he said, like 1,000% chill side and the 1,000% business side. And I think the closest thing that you can do when you see people like this on your screen is just absorb the information that they have and to study them, of course, but just to really take into action and just, I don't want videos like this just to be an inspiration, just to be a motivational piece for you guys to watch and just like go about your business of the day, but actually go back, take notes and just listen
Take action.
Take action. Genuinely take action. Because it's like, I wouldn't be sitting here if I didn't take action. He wouldn't be sitting there if he didn't take action. Everyone that put this set together wouldn't be where they are if they aren't taking action. So,
Can I say one last thing?
yeah, go ahead.
Light to the camera.
Yeah.
Guys, don't do OnlyFans. Don't do drugs. Don't do anything bad. I would summarize it in this way. If you do right in this world, if you do things the right way, God is going to give you what you deserve.
Yeah.
The people you deserve, the money you deserve, the experience you deserve. And if he takes it all away, it means you have to go back to him.
Yeah.
That's it.
That means you're doing it for the wrong reasons.
Exactly.
Alhamdulillah. Because at the core, it's the deen.
Yeah.